Hello everyone and welcome. As always, this video is coming out later than I would have liked it to, but I do have good news. As you can see, I have my big desk all set up in my new house in my new recording studio, and there are some hidden features that you guys can't see. The first one being Maria, just off camera. Say hi, Maria.
Hi!
Okay, now Maria is going to be quiet for the rest of the video. But also, just off camera here, we have my blue Yeti microphone hanging from the ceiling. I was able to hang it because I own the house now instead of renting, so I totally just went up there and put up a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff to get through. We have our usual news about the quarterly releases and video games and movies that are going to be coming out in the future for the rest of the year. We have a cash giveaway that I'm going to give you guys some information on and how to enter and how to do all of that stuff. And then we're going to talk about some other things, small details that I won't spoil here, and we'll talk about that as we get there. So, I am Mike. This is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the third quarter action update for 2025. Alright guys, so as always, we have our quarterly releases. We start with video games. We do two releases for each month, and we're going to talk about box office numbers, sales figures. We're going to see what was good, what was bad, and how everything did. People really like this stuff, so I hope that you guys do too. Okay, so, and by the way, if you're seeing this as a short, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, check out the whole video by clicking on the related video. So, okay, in July, we had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Just so you guys understand, this was number 4 on the sales charts for July. Its release date was July 11th, 2025. It was developed by Iron Galaxy and published by Activision. So its critical reception was an 8 out of 10 from GameSpot, an 8 out of 10 from IGN, a Metascore of 82, and a user score of 6.7 over on Metacritic. So that is a positive reception from critics and audiences. We have the profitability numbers here, though, so let's see how it actually did financially. So and by the way, the production cost of these video games is hard to come by. Almost nobody, I can almost never find it, so just, if I find it, I'll let you know. Otherwise, don't expect it for video games. Movies, they usually actually just come out and say how much it costs. So, but as far as the profitability numbers here for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, from wolfsgamingblog.com on August 9th, 2025, in this week's newsletter from Alinea Analytics, Rhys Elliott gave us a look at July's most downloaded games across Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 ranked as the 9th highest on their chart, bringing in 1.9 million downloads. Of course, the game launched straight onto Game Pass, which is where most of those downloads came from. What's really interesting, though, is that Elliott provided a way to gauge sales. There sadly isn't too much to be stoked about sales-wise, as over 90% of those came from Xbox due to its Game Pass inclusion. So, if the game had 1.9 million downloads, and at least 90% of those were from Game Pass, that means we can surmise that the game only sold about 190,000 copies across Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. That number may be slightly higher now, of course, but it's still not great. So this game not only did not do well, it totally bombed. It definitely is pointing out something that people talk about a lot in recent game development and releases. The recent gaming industry is that Xbox Game Pass, you don't have to pay for those games. You pay like $20 or something for the Game Pass, but these big games come out and they say, oh, we have all these players, but those players didn't pay for the game. So it didn't make any money. which is unfortunate because the Pro Skater games were pretty good when they came out originally. Okay, so then the next game that came out in July was Donkey Kong Bonanza on the Nintendo Switch 2, which was number 3 on the sales charts for July. Its release date was July 17th. It was developed by Nintendo Entertainment Planning and Development, published by Nintendo. Its critical reception was as follows. So IGN gave it a 10 out of 10, GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10, Metacritic gave it a Metascore of 91, and a user score of 9.0. As far as its profitability, so that is a great reception. So as far as its profitability, on July 24th, from NintendoLife.com, which, by the way, I've said this in past updates. Is Nintendo Life owned by Nintendo? Like, that seems kind of biased. No, it's a separate company, although they do get, there is a little bit of a partnership there as far as getting interviews and stuff, but actually they're separately owned, and I still think that there's probably a bias, but let's see what they have to say about the game's profits. So on July 24, 2025, the big new release of the moment, Donkey Kong Bonanza, has sold a smashing 127,905 units in the week of the 14th July to 20th July, but can't quite take the number 1 spot from the Switch 2 launch title Mario Kart World, which shifted another 135,370 copies. Donkey Kong, of course, was only available for part of the week, so we'll see how far its legs carry it over the coming week. So, it did okay. It didn't take the number 1 spot. Nintendo, something you have to realize about Nintendo is that they're, at least my understanding, is that their production budgets for their games, they keep that really tight, so it's usually not too expensive. They have a big margin for where they can make profits as far as their game sales. So then let's get into movies for July. We had Jurassic World Rebirth, which was number 1 in the ticket sales for July. Its release date was July 2nd, 2025. The production companies were Amblin Entertainment and Universal Pictures, and it was directed by Gareth Edwards. The critical reception is as follows. So IMDb gave it a 5.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, we had the top critics gave it a 43%. All critics gave it a 50%. I think that's total BS. It shouldn't have gotten that low. Was it the greatest movie? No. Was it the greatest Jurassic Park movie? No. You're never going to beat the originals, but I mean, it was still entertaining. Like, come on, guys, 43%, get out of here. Especially with what they give 90s and 100s to. So the audiences, though, so we had verified audience of 71 and all audiences 63%. I did a review of this. Go check out my review, but I would say that those are actually the more accurate numbers of the objective quality of the movie. So around 70%. 71 to 63% is a good range there. Metacritic gave it a Metascore of 50 and a user score of 5.3. I think the Metacritic scores are always a little low. I'm not sure exactly why, but I've noticed that. So as far as profitability from Collider.com, now here's where it really matters. On July 27th, 2025, this is from Collider on July 27, 2025. The movie was produced on a reported budget of $180 million, which is lower than the $265 million that Jurassic Park Dominion is said to have cost. Now, let me tell you something. Hollywood's budgets are getting too big, so it's really great to hear that they've lowered the budget of this movie compared to its predecessors. But so remember, guys, we need to double that number. It's like double to 2.5 times the budget because of marketing, and then you also have to remember 90% of ticket sales on the first day, like on opening weekend, go to theaters. So we have to double that production budget in order to make money here. So let's see how they did. From BoxOfficeMojo.com, domestically, the movie made $339 million. Internationally, it made $528 million. And worldwide, it made $868 million. So that is way more than it would have needed to be profitable. That's like 5 times more, almost, than what it would have needed to be profitable. So that was a very successful movie, and we are very happy about that. Aren't we happy about it, Maria?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next one. And I did reviews of both of these. So Superman, released on July 11th, 2025. The production companies were Warner Bros. And it was Warner Bros. And it was directed by Richard Donner. Now, I do just want to let you know, Fantastic Four First Steps came out around the same time as Superman. I think Superman is objectively the better movie, and it actually made more of a profit. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Now I'm going to get people in the comments that argue with me about the profit. If I am wrong, I apologize, guys, but I'm pretty sure, when I did my research, it came up as more of a profit than Fantastic Four, and I liked Fantastic Four much, much less. But anyway, okay, so it was directed by Richard Donner. Its critical reception is as follows. IMDb gave it a 7.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, the critics said 71% for the top critics. All critics gave it an 83%. Then audiences verified was 90%, and all audiences 85%, which I think it actually floats right around there. Go check out my review, guys. You can see my full thoughts on the movie. Metacritic, its Metascore was 68 and user score 7.2. As far as its profitability, here we go. So from Variety.com on July 16, 2025, the film cost $225 million and another $125 million to market globally. Now, when you double that number, like we talked about in the beginning, that includes marketing. So really, you just have to focus on the $225 million, so it would need $450 million to be profitable. From BoxOfficeMojo.com, domestically it made $354 million, and internationally it made $261 million, and worldwide it made $615 million. So it was a box office success, or maybe breaking even point. But usually they include marketing when you double that number. So I would disregard the $125 million as far as the multiplication you need to do there. Also, I want to let you guys know, just as a good rule of thumb, the way that so opening weekend, I said earlier that 90% of opening weekends sales go to theaters. It's actually reversed. That's my fault. 90% of opening weekend sales go to the company. After that, it's like 50 to 60% goes to the theater. So the rule of thumb is you need to make back your production budget opening weekend. Okay, and then after that is where you're going to be in profitability. Okay, so that's where those numbers come from. So overall, that movie did at least break even, but I think it actually did make some money, so that was great. I really liked the movie. It wasn't perfect. There's some problem. They're going to have to retcon one particular thing. I don't know why they did that. In an otherwise great movie, they made this stupid. Anyway, I won't spoil it for you. Go check out my review, though. So, that was July. So let's move on to August. So, the first video game that we're going to cover for August is Mafia: The Old Country, and that came out for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. It was released on August 8th, 2025, and it was developed by Hangar 13 and published by 2K. The critical reception is as follows. IGN gave the game an 8 out of 10. GameSpot gave it a 6 out of 10. Metacritic had a Metascore of 74 and a user score of 7.7. I've actually heard that this was kind of a sleeper for me. I thought it would kind of be like a middle-of-the-road game, but I've heard that it actually was pretty good from critics that I've seen, that I pay attention to. So, according to Alina Analytics, an analyst firm that uses proprietary data to estimate video game statistics, Mafia: The Old Country has sold around 643,000 copies on the PS5, 337 copies on Steam, and 117,000 on Xbox. This means the PlayStation 5 alone accounts for over 50% of total sales, making it the game's biggest platform by a significant margin. According to the firm, the overall sales sit at around 1.2 million, which isn't particularly high for a Mafia title. So a lot of these games, these AAA games that are coming out, so like we talked about Donkey Kong, it sold less than 500,000, but that's okay because it's a remake. So they didn't have to fully develop the game. They just had to remake what was already made. And only update some things, so that has a lower bar for being profitable. But a lot of these games need to sell millions and millions of copies. 1.2 million, maybe they made a profit, maybe they didn't. It depends on the production budget, which we can never get. But 1.2 million probably is okay. But a lot of these games need to sell like 5 million because they have such ballooned budgets. So I hope that did well. I hope that people seem to have enjoyed it. And I hope that the fans get another game, because if you enjoy a game series, it's always great to get another one that does at least as good as the first or better. Okay, so then the second one we got in August is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, coming at us for the PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. It was released on August 26th, 2025. It was both developed and published by Konami. The critical reception is as follows. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10, and Metacritic had a Metascore of 85 and a user score of 7.6. Now, obviously, we knew that it was going to get high reviews. It was a great game when it first came out, which was, comparatively, it didn't come out in like the 70s, 80s, or 90s. It's not like a remake of a pixel game or anything like Final Fantasy was. So, this was going to be a great game no matter what happened. So that's awesome to see. As far as profitability goes, from PCGamer.com on September 5th, 2025, the publisher has announced that Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater surpassed 1 million sales across all platforms, PC, PS5, and Xbox, on its launch day. So what that means is, most likely this thing did really well, because it sold 1 million copies right off the bat. There was probably more copies sold after that, and we're talking about, like I said, a lot of these games need to sell millions and millions of copies. This is a remake. Mafia: The Old Country, the game that we just talked about, it only sold 1.2 million, but it was a new game that they developed and had to, make the whole thing. Remakes and remasters are much cheaper to make. So this definitely, I would say that this definitely made money. Okay, so then moving on to movies in August. So the first movie that we're going to talk about is The Naked Gun. It was released on August 1st, 2025. It coming at us from Paramount Pictures, and it was directed by Akiva Schaffer. By the way, if you guys don't know, this is actually part of a big series, Naked Gun. I think it was like 1, 2, and 3. Was there a fourth one? Maybe there was more than that. It was before my time, but I've still seen quite a few of them. They're really good. And then those were actually offshoots from the movie series The Police Squad. So this is like a direct sequel to that. The main character is the son of the main character from The Naked Gun, so that's awesome. Okay, so critical reception, we've got IMDb, who gave it a 6.4 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, top critics gave it an 85. All critics gave it an 88. Verified audience gave it a 73. And all audiences gave it a 69. Metacritic Metascore was 75, and user score was 6.8. Audiences are liking it a little less, which actually surprises me, because I went and saw this movie, and it was wonderful. It really was. It was so great to have a comedy. First of all, slapstick comedy. When is the last time that you saw a movie that was just a comedy? Not an action comedy, not a rom-com, not, whatever. This is just a comedy, and it is great, and it is slapstick comedy done well. So I really loved this. Okay, so then let's see where it really matters, though. The profitability. So from ScreenRant.com, I didn't get the date. I apologize, guys, but from ScreenRant.com, the reboot has not been quite as prominent as the original. With a $43 million budget, it does have the same initial investment, but the movie has not yet broken the $100 million mark in theaters. So, $42 million budget. At the time of writing, it had not broken through the $100 million mark, but $42 million, so think 84, maybe 90 million, let's just say 100 million, okay, because you got 2 to 2.5, so you need between 80 and 100 million dollars to break even. So let's see what it got. As The Naked Gun continues its box office run, it still appears to be working towards a profit when accounting for marketing costs and the cut that theaters take from every ticket. The comedy needs around $105 million to break even. Okay, so that's what I was saying, and that was still part of the article from screenrant.com. Okay, so then let's check it out. Box Office Mojo says domestically it made 52 million, internationally it made 49 million, and worldwide it made 102 million. So not great, but I hope that it's one of those situations where even though it didn't make a huge amount of money, even if it only broke even here, fans seeing it and liking it enough, will make the production companies realize, like, hey, we should make another one. And then the second one will give it the same budget and all that, and hopefully, because of word of mouth of the first one, the second one will do better. I hope. Okay, so then the second movie in August was Nobody 2, released on August 15th. It's coming at us from Universal Pictures, 87 North Productions, and Odenkirk Provinciero Entertainment. It was directed by Timo Tjahjanto. I want to say it's Tahanto. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section down below. Write it phonetically so I can understand what it's saying. But I'm sorry. My last name is terrible too. Nobody can pronounce it either. That's why you never hear me say it. Okay, but the critical reception for Nobody 2 was as follows. IMDb gave it a 6.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, top critics gave it a 59. All critics gave it a 77. Audiences gave it all audiences gave it an 80%. Verified audiences gave it an 88%. So audiences love it, and that's all I care about. The Metacritic Metascore was 59, and user score was 5.9. I didn't see this movie, but basically it's making me think that it was slightly above average. Even like Rotten Tomatoes audiences gave it a high score. Metacritic like 8. So just think 80 versus 59 versus 63. It's probably closer to the 60 point mark than it is the 80. So I would say probably like a 70, just based on what I'm seeing here. Makes me think above average, but definitely not excellent. As far as its profitability, I think this movie had a lower budget too, but let's see. Yeah, it had a lower budget, which is great. No CGI or any of that stuff. So from Variety.com on August 13th, 2025, Nobody 2 was modestly priced at $25 million, just above the first film's $16 million price tag. So at $25 million, again, you need like $50 to $60 million to break even. So let's see if it did that. From BoxOfficeMojo.com, domestically it made $21 million. Internationally it made $19 million, leaving the worldwide box office total at $41 million. So this one bombed. It did not make its budget back. It made its budget back, but it did not make any money. That really sucks. I liked the first one. I didn't go see this one because August was a busy month for me, and I liked the first one though, so this is definitely going to be one I'm going to watch on streaming. And that's usually how it goes. It's like movies that don't do well for these production companies, they will sell the streaming rights to them, and that's usually, nowadays, that's how they try to make money back on these small films that don't make a bunch of money at the box office. So let's move on to September. The first game we're going to be talking about in September is Hell Is Us. It came out for the PC and PS5. It released on September 4th, 2025, and it was developed by Rogue Factor and published by Nacon. I am loving Nacon. Not a big one on my list of publishers, but man, RoboCop Rogue City definitely got me. That game was way better than it had any right to be, and now they're coming out with this one, so I didn't play this one. And actually, I feel bad about it, because I heard that it was really great, but I'm not a roguelike guy, and I kind of heard like, it's going to be, or not a roguelike, it's going to be like Elden Ring, it's going to be a Souls-like, not a roguelike, a Souls-like. So I skipped out on this one, and I heard that it was good, and let's check out what we have to say what the critics have to say, excuse me. So the critical reception is as follows. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, GameRant gave it a 7 out of 10, Metacritic gave it a Metascore of 77, and a user score of 80. So in other words, an above average game, but not excellent. Probably some people think it was excellent, because that's usually how it goes. But an above-average game, solid title. Let's see how much money it made, or what we know about its profitability. So, from Yahoo.com, on September 15, 2025. Man, Yahoo. We're going back to the old guard. Jonathan Jacques Belletet. It's a French name, guys. It seems French anyway. Hell Is Us. He's the creative director. Went on to note that he believes Silk Song's release hurt Hell Is Us's sales, but also acknowledged that he doesn't currently have sales numbers available to illustrate that point. So in other words, I don't really know officially, but I do have some information from Gamealytic.com. So its copy sold was 70.1 thousand, and that grosses a revenue of 2.1 to 3.9 million. So what does that mean as far as a sequel or if it made money? I'm not exactly sure. That's the answer I have for you. So let's move on, though, to Borderlands 4. So its release date was September 12th, 2025. Before that, it actually was the 23rd, but they moved it up, so that was cool. It was developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K. Its critical reception is as follows. PC Gamer gave it an 82%, IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, and Metacritic gave it a Metascore of 81 and a user score of 4.5. So, what that says to me, PC Gamer and IGN are critics, and listening to the critics is kind of asinine at this point. They always like things that the audience doesn't. So then we go down to Metacritic and the user score is 4.5. Who do you think that I'm going to listen to? I stopped liking Borderlands after the first one. I tried to play Borderlands 2. I didn't like the new characters. I liked the old characters. I wanted to play as them again. I wasn't able to. So, I mean, what are you going to do? And the brand has been really getting pounded because of things going on at Gearbox, like as far as personal stuff that's not actually related to games and their, how good they're doing. But then other things like the movie coming out and really not being good. People really, really hated that movie. Probably hurt the brand. But let's talk about the profitability. So this is what actually matters here. From InsiderGaming.com on May 21st. Excuse me. From InsiderGaming.com on May 21st, 2025. The topic of the game's budget also came up. Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget than Borderlands 3. More than twice, he added, and confirmed that pre-orders are opening soon, and that's when the prices will be set. Jason Schreier reported in 2020 that by the time Borderlands 3 wrapped up, its overall budget was around 140 million. And by the way, that's Randy Pitchford. That's what that quote is from. He's the guy at Gearbox. If Pitchford's words hold true, Borderlands 4's budget is closer to $300 million. Now, there are people who are going to be loyalists to Borderlands, but I have some other information for you guys, and I want you to understand. Let's check it out, though. So, from wolfsgamingblog.com on September 16th, 2025, Alinea has updated their numbers. That's Alinea Analytics. We talked about them before. And are now claiming Borderlands 4 has hit 2.5 million players across all platforms. Note the use of the term players. However, since the game isn't available on any subscription platforms like Xbox Game Pass, we can safely assume all of those players must have bought the game. Thus, we can assume 2.5 million copies sold. If these numbers are accurate, they're a little soft. Borderlands 3 managed to sell 5 million copies in its first 5 days, as confirmed by publisher Gearbox at the time. That means Borderlands 4 has achieved less than half of those sales in roughly the same amount of time. Now, how much money did Borderlands 3 make? I don't know. But I do know, okay, that they increased the budget by double. So I'm assuming that they thought they were going to get way more sales, and instead they got half as many sales, which to me means we might have actually had Borderlands 4 losing money or only breaking even. I don't know. I'm just saying I know that there's going to be Borderlands loyalists who are going to freak out because I'm saying this. This game might have lost money. I have no actual hard evidence of that, but things are pointing to the fact that, it did not make as much money as they thought it was going to for sure. Okay. So then let's continue on into movies. On September 12th, 2025, we had The Long Walk release. This was a Stephen King novel made into a movie. It was released from Lionsgate Pictures and directed by Francis Lawrence. Its critical reception is as follows. So, IMDb gave it a 7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it, the top critics gave it an 83%, and all critics gave it an 88%. The audience is verified, 85%, and all audiences, 78%. The Metascore was, from Metacritic, was 71, and the user score was 6.9. So here's the deal. Above average? Yes. I want to get into this next part though, because obviously I got all this data, so I know what's going to happen here. We're going to talk about it, and I'm gonna try to interpret this just a little bit. Okay, so as far as the profitability, from ScreenRant.com on October 8th, 2025. Movies often need to earn 2.5 times their budget. So The Long Walk's reported budget of $20 million could place its estimated break-even point somewhere around $50 million. From BoxOfficeMojo.com, domestically it made $35 million, internationally it made $18 million, and worldwide it made $54 million. It either broke even, it's basically right at the point where it broke even. Okay, let's just say that. Now here's the thing. A movie that sells so few tickets that it only breaks even, and then you look at the scores here, whenever I see this, and I like Stephen King, this movie, so I like Stephen King and his movies and stuff. One of my favorite, actually, movies of all time was Dr. Sleep. It's right up there as one of my favorite movies. But, so we have an IMDb 7 out of 10, and then I don't care about that one so much. Because, well, no, that's users. Okay, and then Metacritic, the Metascore of 6.9. Looking at the audience score, 85, 78 on Rotten Tomatoes. What this tells me, though, is that the audiences were so small, there were probably more people that were going to like, that were kind of predisposed to liking the movie going in. So if you were to make this movie, if more people would have seen this movie, they probably would have liked it a little less. So I would say, if it's an 85, it's probably a 75. If it's an 78, it's probably a 68. Maybe 5 to 10 points down. So this movie was not the success that Stephen King or the production company would have liked. I hope that we still get Stephen King movies, because I do actually like those movies quite a bit. Okay, so then another movie, One Battle After Another. It was released on September 26, 2025. Its production company was Warner Bros. Pictures, and it was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Critical reception was as follows. IMDb, 8.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, top critics, 95%. All critics, 95%. Verified audiences, 85%. And all audiences, 76%. The Metascore was 95, and the user score was 7.2. Now, again, I want to say, the profit is where it's going to be here with this one as well. To show you how well it actually did and how well people actually liked it, you factor that in. So let's talk about that. So as far as the profitability, from Variety.com on October 15th, 2025, One Battle requires roughly $300 million to break even. That's because Warner Bros. Spent more than $130 million on production and $70 million on promotional efforts. And ticket sales are typically split 50-50 between studios and theater operators. On opening weekend, it's like 90% of ticket sales go back to the production company. But anyway, so from BoxOfficeMojo.com, domestically the movie made $65 million, internationally made $114 million, leaving a worldwide box office of $180 million. So this movie is going to lose more than $100 million. Now, I got into an argument with a guy just yesterday where he told me that this movie was actually more of a success than movies that actually make money. I have no idea where that guy gets that idea. And he told me I was biased, and I was like, look, I don't care about whether the movie was good or not. All I'm talking to you about is whether it made money or not. So here's the thing you have to realize, though, and this is what I told him, and this is, I think, what was part of why he was irritated with me. If it made so little money that it's losing money, that means that ticket sales were way down. Okay? And if ticket sales are way down, that means you have a smaller pool. And so the people who went and saw it most likely were predisposed to seeing it. So for this one, losing $100 million, I mean, you might be 10 to 15% lower than the actual audience scores. This movie was a very political movie. It basically was a tribute to Antifa and terrorist organizations in the United States and around the world. Mostly, it's in the United States because Leonardo DiCaprio and all that. So if IMDb gives it, so if Top Critics give it a 95%, I don't trust that at all. Anyway, but if you're getting an IMDb score of 8.2, that might even be like a 6 out of 10. Audience is giving it 85. That might be like a 70. All audience is 76. You might be talking about a 60%. If you were to get a bigger pool, you understand? We have less people talking about whether they like this movie or not. If you were to get a bigger pool of people, most likely that score is going to go down. So that is everything I got for the releases of last quarter. Box office numbers for movies have not been great this year. Video game sales, it's weird because we're in this transitionary period where we're transitioning out of AAA titles being the big monsters and going into AA and indie games, because it used to be that AAA titles just got hit and hit and hit and hit and hit. All the time these production companies would just be putting out hits, and now it's more likely that a AAA game, in my opinion, I think, and this is not based on numbers, this is just like what I'm kind of feeling out as I watch things going on in the industry. I think that it's more likely now that a game is going to come out, and it'll have its audience, but a game will come out from a AAA studio, and it'll have an audience, but basically it won't be the big success, and it won't be it won't be the high quality game that you would have gotten 10, 15 years ago. And so they don't sell as well, which is unfortunate. Now, indie games, you go pick up an indie game, pay 20, like anywhere from $5 to $20, you get the greatest game ever. So that's why indie games are becoming safer and selling more and more all the time. Okay, so that was the In Case You Missed It section of the video. Let's talk about what I am currently working on. We've got a cash giveaway. Okay, last quarter we cashed out with YouTube. So we're going to be doing a cash giveaway. It's going to be Wednesday, the 5th of November at 8 o'clock. We're going to go live. That's Eastern Standard Time. We are going to go live on Twitch. We're giving away $25. We give away 10% of the money that we make, with a minimum of it being $200. Like once we hit 200, anything over 200, we give 10% back every quarter. So $25. It's not a lot, guys. We made $250. It's not a lot. We do appreciate your support. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you join the channel, you'll be supporting us financially directly, and we really, really appreciate that. We also have the merch, which it's great that I have my microphone hanging up because now you guys can actually see my awesome shirt. It's got all the cool stuff, and it's even got the MAARs on the back. It says Alpha on there. Those are on spring. I know there's problems with spring right now because of trade things happening and everything, but any support you can give us, guys, we really, really appreciate it. And no support is better than telling everyone you know about the high-quality videos that you see on Mike's After Action Reviews. Come and check us out on MAARs. Yeah, so $25 giveaway, Wednesday the 5th of November at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's p.m. 8 p.m. All right, so let's talk about moving forward. First of all, we have a moderator. His name is Shadows Den Gaming. He is great. He's basically like a producer on our Twitch streams, and I multi-stream, but he gets in there, he's talking, he's a mod. kind of a really cool booster. He's helping us with the shorts, so when you start seeing, so I was doing all of the shorts for a while, then I had Staff Sergeant Matt was doing them, and then that got to be a little difficult for him to do because of things going on in his life, so I was doing them alone again. Now it's a team effort between Shadows Den Gaming and I just want to give him a shout out. He's really great. Thank you so much for being there. If you, the audience that are watching this, want to become a part of the Action Pack directly and help us out, you can, send me an email, Mike at mikesafteractionreviews.com, and let us know how you think you can help. Video editing, shorts, helping us by doing, 5-minute little reviews, rapid action reviews. We would really appreciate anything you can do for us. We're small, but we're growing. But as we grow, we need to be able to manage things by having staff, basically. So, let me know in the comments or send me an email, guys. So then we're going to talk about moving forward. And this is going to include games from October, which we're at the end of October. We do that so that way the box office run of the games, or the games and movies in November, the sales numbers and box office numbers can kind of play out, and then we get a better picture of those. But we're going to be talking about October games. These don't have reviews yet, so that's why we're actually mentioning them. Some of these actually do. Well, let's get into it. So, starting off in October, video games. Ghost of Yote released on October 2nd, 2025. It was developed by Sucker Punch and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. You can see I did a bunch of live streams of it. I've stopped live streaming now. I'm about to put out my rapid action review of it. It's a good game, not as good as the first. Actually, in a lot of ways, it is disappointing. As a big fan of the first game, but it is not a bad game. Objectively, it's not bad. And then we've got Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 coming at us on PlayStation 5, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Series X, and Series S. It finally came out, all right? And it was awesome. I'm playing it. It's very good. It is not a Bloodlines game, and people are going to say that, but it is a great game. Like that's where I'm torn. It's like it's not the vampire RPG like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1. So probably they should have named it something different. I think that most likely what happened, and I'm going to talk about this in my review because this one's getting a full review. Most likely what happened, in my opinion, I am going to talk about this in my reviews. They had one developer who was developing it, then they switched over to another developer, and it's almost like what happened with Cyberpunk 2077. It was being made for the PS5, and then PS5 got delayed because of COVID, so then they say, wait, stop, we need to optimize it for PS4, and then when it came out for PS4, it all got all jumbled because it was supposed to be for PS5. Okay, well, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, it seems like they were going for a specific story, and they wrote that, and they were building the game and doing all those things, and then at some point, they switched developers, and they said that they did that because the game was, a lot of people speculate anyway, that the game was very political with modern-day politics stuff, and everybody's sick and tired of that crap, so we don't want to get into any of that. Modern-day politics and modern-day cultural arguments. So they switched over to the Chinese Room, and it was previously Hardsuit Labs. The Chinese Room, by the way, published by Paradox Interactive, the Chinese Room took what Hardsuit Labs did and had to continue making it, and fast, because we've been waiting for this game for a long time. So I think that a lot of the stuff got cut. And I know that that's disappointing, but the game actually is really good. If you don't think of it as a Bloodlines game, it's really good. What they need to do, though, and I'm sure that they know this not by now from the fans' reaction, if they make a Bloodlines 3, they need to make the RPG Bloodlines 3. They need to make Bloodlines 3 an RPG, and that's just all that there is to it. But anyway, review is pending on that one, so watch out for that. All right, so then moving on to movies. Tron Ares is one that I already have a review out, so go check out the review for Tron Ares. It was released on October 10th, 2025. Its production company was Walt Disney Pictures, and it was directed by Joachim with a slash through it, Nning. So I think it's Joachim Roning. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, My last name sucks. No one can pronounce it. It's terrible. I identify with you. I feel the pain. I don't know how to say your name. I think it's Joachim Roning. Let me know. Spell it out phonetically for me in the comments down below. Not an amazing, great movie. Not a great Tron sequel. But it was okay. It was an okay movie. As far as just a popcorn film, action movie kind of thing. Go check out my review. Then we had Roofman, which released on October 10th, 2025, coming at us from Paramount Pictures and being directed by Derek Cianfrance. Derek Cianfrance. Cianfrance. I don't know. Derek France. Derek something France. I didn't see that one, but it came out. We're going to talk about its box office numbers at the end of this quarter and wrapping up the year. Then we've got Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 2 was supposed to come out. It's been delayed to May 8th, 2026. It's coming at us from New Line Cinema and Atomic Monster, and being directed by Simon McCoy. Now, it was a good idea for them to delay that movie just because you got Tron Ares coming out, and it's not the same genre, but it's sort of like the same idea, like a popcorn action film. So it's, do you want to compete? I don't know. Is there problems with the movie that they might be fixing? Maybe. Either way, I'm actually excited for this one because, again, it's one of those situations where the first one came out, it was like okay, but fans had a lot of problems with it, and now they're bringing in Johnny Cage to be the main character, and I hope that they're trying to fix some of their mistakes from the first film. So, yeah. If you're watching this after having seen it, let me know in the comments if that happened. Let me know in the comment section down below. So then, in November, we've got Cairn coming out for the PC, PS5, but that one was actually delayed. That is the mountain climbing game that was supposed to be coming up, but like I said, it's delayed to Q1 2026, so the first quarter of 2026. Its developer and publisher was The Game Bakers, and it is an indie studio, so that's awesome to see. Again, it's indie, so that means that it's actually safer because it's less money and it's not going to have the problems that a lot of AAA games have. Okay, so then let's talk about Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. This is a new one that we have not been tracking before. Its release date is November 6, 2025, developed by Koei Tecmo and published by Nintendo. So go check that out. Then we've got Anno 117 Pax Romana. It's coming out for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. It's releasing on November 13th, 2025. Developed by Ubisoft Mainz and being published by Ubisoft. Another city builder, guys. Go check it out. And then here's the thing that I'm really excited about. Predator Badlands, releasing on November 7th, 2025. And being the production companies being 20th Century Studios and Dan Trachtenberg. I want to see it. I'm not biased against it. And anybody who is biased against something is going to be the first person to say that, and I know that. But I want it to be good. There are some issues that I've seen in the promotional material, especially now that we've seen the monster. They were hiding the monster of the movie, and now they've already let it. You can see it in the movie, or in the trailers, and that sucks. They should have done that. There's problems with the way that the Predator looks. Maybe I can put a graphic up behind me. I'm hoping that it's good, though. It's always I love this series of Alien and Predator, and I want every movie or video game or anything related to stuff that I like to do well. I want everything to be something that I like, right? Because then we'd have a better world, right? Everybody should love everything that's made because everything that's made should be high quality, right? But anyway, I'm going to see this one and do a review for sure, so watch out for that one. Another one that I was excited for, but I don't know that I am anymore, is The Running Man. It's releasing on November 7, 2025, being produced by Genre Films and directed by Edgar Wright. Now, I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Running Man, but in the original Running Man, it came out in like the 80s. In the original one, they were in an arena. Not an arena, but they were in like a closed off area, almost like the Arkham City game, where it's like all walled in, this big city, but it's walled in section of the city. That's basically what it was, and they had to run from one area to the next and try to get to the end, basically is what it is, while being hunted by these super soldier guys that they would release on them. One guy could shoot lightning, one guy could fire, and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. This one, though, is just that they have to survive for like 30 days with a bounty on their head all across the city or across the world or whatever. And I don't know if I like that formula as much as I do them basically running a track and being hunted down by super powered guys. I mean, they weren't super powered, but they had like this technology that allowed them to do cool stuff. Like I said, shooting electricity, the flame guy, yeah. So, and it's a game show. That's the thing too. It's a game show, and both movies are a game show. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters because it comes out the same day as Predator Badlands. So, but if you guys have seen the movie since watching, if like, you know, seen the movie before watching this video, let me know in the comment section down below how it did as far as its quality. But okay, so then December, and we're going to be talking about the box offices for all these too. So in the next quarter action update. So watch for that in January. Okay, so then December, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It's coming out for Nintendo Switch. This is a new one. We haven't seen. We haven't been tracking this before in the updates. So Nintendo Switch 2. It's releasing on December 4th, 2025. Developed by Nintendo and Retro Studios and being published by Nintendo. Okay, then we have Routine. It's a space survival game. It's being released on December 4th as well. Developed by Lunar Software and Raw Fury is publishing. So actually that one did interest me. It did look pretty cool. Maybe that'll be the one that I review in December. Then we have movies. Avatar, Fire, and Ash. It's releasing December 19th, 2025, coming at us from 20th Century Studios and being directed by James Cameron. I didn't like Avatar Way of the Water. The final battle scene, all these Na'vi came and attacked, and then all of a sudden, like, in the middle of the battle, all of a sudden there's no Na'vi anymore, there's no humans anymore, they're just, everybody just, like, disappeared, so then it's just Jake and one other guy fighting. That was kind of bad. I didn't like that. The rest of the movie is basically carbon copy of the first movie. It's too similar to the first movie for me. So, yeah. I mean, is Fire and Ash going to be better then? Is it going to follow the same formula, or are we going to get something new? Hopefully you get something new. I want it to be good, just like I want everything that comes out to be good. I love movies, I love video games, and I want the stuff that's being made to be good. So, yeah. Then we've got kind of take a little turn here, and we've got Anaconda movie, which is starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd because it's a comedy, or looks like a comedy anyway from the promotional material. I'm kind of thinking that there might be a twist to what they're going to do here because it's releasing on December 25th, 2025. It's being produced by Sony Pictures and directed by Tom Gormican. And the reason that I say I think it's going to be like that movie called The Bubble, where all these actors and stuff were making a movie, and the movie is about the process that they used to make the movie, and they had to live in a bubble because of COVID-19, and it's a good comedy. This looks like Jack Black and Paul Rudd are going to go out to where the Anaconda movie was filmed, like the actual Anaconda movie, and they want to make another Anaconda movie. It seems like they might encounter actually a giant anaconda for real in the movie, which will be an interesting... It'll be a little bit of comedy, and then it'll get into action, and you'll have to be fighting off anacondas. I think. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Well, don't spoil it. No, don't spoil it for people. But let me know if the movie was good if you're watching this after the movie comes out in the comment section down below. Okay, so then we've got announced movies and video... No, well, we only have video games, actually. We've announced video games that we don't have release dates for and that are forthcoming. So we have A Wolf Among Us 2. We've been waiting a long time for this one. It's coming to us from PC, PS, PlayStation, Xbox, and there's nothing new. We haven't found anything new since last time we talked about it. It's being developed and published by Telltale Games. Last we heard was from comicbook.com on July 6, 2025, and basically an actual release date for the game was supposed to be not too far away. They were supposed to tell us between July and now an actual release date, and they haven't yet. So we'll be watching for it. People have talked about, is it going to come out in 2026? Is it going to come out in 2027? We don't know. That's what we've got. Okay, then we've got Unrecord coming at us to the PC. Nothing new with Unrecord, guys. Small indie developer drama. I think it's like 1 or 2 guys making the game. Basically, last we heard was from Game8.com on April 8th, 2024, which was that the release date and time are yet to be announced. So there you go. Okay, the next one, Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time remake, coming at us from PC, PS4, and Xbox. It's got a new release window, so it's being developed by Ubisoft and published by Ubisoft. And from PCGamer.com on July 18th, 2025, the most recently provided release target for the Sands of Time remake was sometime in Ubisoft's 2026 fiscal year, which ends March 31st, 2026. That's now 8 months away, which I don't think qualifies as very soon, although relative to how things have gone so far, yeah, maybe. So this one might be coming out even before March. So think about it. You know, we're in October, we're at the end of October, so November, December, okay, January, February, March. 5 months. Within 5 months, this game might be released, even though we don't have a release date. And it's been delayed for what, like 8 years now? Something ridiculous. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section. Also, Wolf Among Us 2, I talked about that one, but let me know what you think about how that one's been delayed too. Are they going to get these games out? Let me know what you think. Comment section. Okay, then we got Fable coming at us for PC, Xbox Series X and S. Nothing new. Being developed by Playground Games, Third Kind Games, and then published by Xbox Game Studios. Basically, its release window was pushed back from its previous target, and now it is supposed to arrive sometime in 2026. That game is quite controversial because you're going to play as a super ugly character. I said, based on the trailer, you meet a giant. In the trailer, she's being captured by a giant or held hostage by a giant or whatever. He's talking to her. And I said, it looks like they might be doing a thing where they actually incorporate actual fables, like, you know, Jack and the Beanstalk with the giant at the top. And you, if that's true, you may be playing as one of the ugly stepsisters. I don't know. It's just the game's called Fable. There was a giant, and there's an ugly woman. Well, giant is at the top of the beanstalk, and the ugly woman could be the ugly stepsister, you know, just like if you've watched the Shrek movies and the Puss in Boots movies. So, yeah. Okay, then the next one we've been tracking, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. We got nothing new on this one. It's coming to us from Skydance New Media, and both developed and published by them. Basically, it was delayed out of 2025 to early 2026. We do not have a release date yet. It is November. It might be now mid to late 2026 because, again, they have not given us a release date, and we're getting close, you know. Within the next 6 months, right? They should be telling us, you know, right? So, okay, then one I'm really excited for is Subnautica 2 coming at us to the PlayStation, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. We don't have any new information on it. It's being developed by Unknown Worlds Entertainment and published by Krafton, or Krafton, depending on where you put the emphasis on which syllable. But I loved the first one. I liked the expansion. What was it, like Subnautica and then Subnautica Frozen Wastes or Ice something, Cold something, whatever. The Frosty one. I liked it. It was nowhere near as good as the first one in my opinion, but I am really excited to see what they've got for us in Subnautica 2. Please be good. Please be good. Please be good. I know there's things going on with the developer where they fired some of the leads from the first game. I still hope that it's good. Please be good, guys. But what we knew about it before came from GameRant.com on July 10th, 2025. It said early access release of Subnautica has been delayed to 2026. It was supposed to come out in early access in 2025 and then be in early access, I believe they said, for 2 years. We'll see what happens now. And then the big one that people... Well, okay, so there's two big ones that people are waiting for that are actually similar games. One is being developed by CD Projekt Red, and one is being developed by people who left CD Projekt Red to form their own studio, and we're talking about that one right now, and it is Blood of Dawnwalker. Basically, we have no new news on it. It's being developed by Rebel Wolves, again, people who left CD Projekt Red, and they helped develop The Witcher, and then it's published by Bandai Namco Entertainment, and the last thing we got from it was GamesRadar.com on July 24th, 2025. They said a trailer that showcased during the Xbox Game Showcase, it confirmed... I'm sorry, we still don't have an exact release date, but in a trailer that showcased during the Xbox Game Showcase 2025, it was confirmed the 2026 year window. So that's when it's supposed to be coming out. Now, you probably already know what the next one is, The Witcher 4. It was delayed, so it's being developed by CD Projekt Red and developed and published by CD Projekt Red. And then from Games Radar on September 4th, 2025, we are not going to announce the precise launch date for the game yet.
Yeah.
Nilubowicz. Nilubowicz said, all we can share now for more visibility for investors is that the game will not be launched within the time frame for the first target for the incentive program, which ends the 31st of December 2026. So it is not coming in 2026, guys. So we're looking at 2027 and beyond. And beyond. Games always take longer to make. They usually anyway, do not get pushed forward. They always get delayed. Okay, so this is great, guys. We've got a lot of things looking forward to for the rest of the year. It's been a light quarter for me. I haven't done a whole lot of new things as far as what I'm currently working on. We've just been kind of going on autopilot mode. Reviews and stuff have been coming out. Trailers of Mike. We've been getting way more views than we normally have, so we're growing. And that means more revenue, which means more cash giveaways. So make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your mama, your papa, and your grandma all to come and check out MAARs. Because you guys are the best advertising. Help me go viral, ladies and gentlemen. But that's all I've got today. Thank you for tuning in and watching this far if you have. I want to thank you all for being so great and being here. So, yeah. Special thank you to those people anyway. But again, that's all I got. I want to say God bless you all and have a good day. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.